Hey everybody, it's Thursday, the 31st of May, 2012, and let's take a look at this market. Looks like the month of May is going to finish off pretty weak here. The S&P is down 0.5%, and actually financials are up, so they're not going to finish down 10%. But let's go back to this. We've broken this little bearish flag, and it looks like the S&P 500 at some point here in the near term should be heading down to that 200-day moving average. In my mind, the sooner the better. It's just best to get it over with and create a real flush. But we did have, kind of panicky sell-off this morning. Now we're getting some consolidation. So this is the normal course of action. But I think that maybe after a couple days, maybe next week at some point, we would see that test of the 200-day moving average. Tomorrow doesn't seem likely at this point. We're getting a little bit of a bounce. We're right around that volume-weighted average price. But again, look to the volume-weighted average price of the E-mini. Now you could say that we're making a little inverted head and shoulders pattern here, and the neckline at about 1305 could lead to a little bit of a bounce. If you're going to play that type of trade, I would say worst case stop goes right here, but it is low probability because again, we're below a declining 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 200-day moving average, etc. If we do get a bounce, it would likely be no further than up to about 130, 160-ish or so. Low probability and low potential reward as well. The path of least resistance really is lower here, and we're just getting a little bit of stabilization. The Qs are down about 0.5% as well, really into this area where the 62 level has been an important level here the last week and a half or so. First is resistance, then some support the last couple days. So I don't see this one bouncing much either. You can see that we are above the VWAP, but again, it's low probability for it to follow through and turn into much. The Russell got beat up pretty hard here first thing this morning, and here we're getting a little bit of a bounce right now. Where would this thing bounce up to? Potentially up towards 76. So maybe this is the better bet for a bounce at this point. But again, all these markets are still just pretty ugly looking. The semiconductors broke below. They remain below 3150, but they broke below yesterday's support. Really not showing any signs of a bounce in here. We do still have that little inverted head and shoulders pattern on the 1 minute time frame that looks like it's potentially going to move back up, but to where maybe the 5-day moving average could be. It's not the high priority trade though, or high probability and probability. Anyways, the financials were down 9.98% as of yesterday for the month, so it looks like they're going to not close down 10%. As this group is a little bit stronger here today. We've got a little resistance holding support above VWAP, and maybe it gets up to 14, but nothing exciting happening. The stocks we're looking at, Alexion hasn't broken any resistance here. Excuse me, I don't think there's any real need to continue to watch that one. CBST, it's really not doing what we would hoped it would. The way the market got hit, we would hope that this got hit a little bit harder. If you're short the stock, I think a stop around $40.05 would be right for CBST. MIPS didn't get moving. In fact, here's again another point of why we don't want to purchase before the break actually occurs. And if you did, that you should have been stopped out here at 645. So I think that you take that one off the list. The longer term still looks good, so maybe you want to keep an eye on it, but it doesn't look like it's going to do anything here in the near term. Qualcomm was a nice little drop off here this morning. You can see that what we had happen was it dropped down, rallied up to the almost perfectly to the pivot, and then as it got below that VWAP, I was talking about lowering your stop to this point, and then here and down there, and it tagged that S2 absolutely to the penny and is now bouncing. I forgot to mention, but I'm not in it any longer. And anyways, again, keep an eye on these pivots and these support levels. It's really a great example here of how big money moves around those levels. So I don't think that you need to keep a close eye on it. Maybe keep it on the list for this afternoon if you're looking to establish a new short. If the market gets weak once again, probably below $56.70, I would say that you could get short this thing with a stop. At this point about 57.05. We'll see what the how the chart shapes up. But I think it still does look vulnerable here. WCC. see. I didn't get involved in this one. I don't know if any. I didn't see anyone who was mentioning it, but real nice sell off in this one, and kind of had to be really quick on it. But again, touched that pivot level absolutely perfectly. Came down to S2. It looked like maybe it was going to consolidate there, but just really getting beat up. So if you're short this thing, I would say right now, stop probably just above this little lower high because we have what's looking like a higher low here. This is a nice winner. You want to lock it in. 4Ws, nothing going on in here yet. So still, I'd say just take that one off the list, and that's it for now.